Next, I'm going to take you through some configuration screens of a Linksys E1200 wireless router. Unless you have a Linksys E1200 router, your screens will not look like this. However, you should see similar information, as all wireless routers will need the same type of information to be configured. So how do you get into the configuration screens? You need to know the IP address of your router. If you use a Windows machine, you can open up a command prompt and type ipconfig on the command line and hit enter. Depending on how your machine is set up, you may need to scroll up to see the results. You will look for the default gateway value. This should be the IP address of your router in a home network situation. Open up a browser and enter that IP address as the URL. If you have an administrator ID and password configured, you will be prompted to enter it. As a side note, for most of the Linksys routers, the default user is blank and default password is admin. Once you've signed into the router portal, look through the menu options and click through them to see what information is available. On this router, the main menu option, Administration, allows you to set up the password to access the router. You can also see options for allowing access via wireless as well as remote management. If you have the ability to connect your computer to the router using an Ethernet cable and are connected that way while using the portal, you can disable access via wireless. Doing so will keep a wireless user, who could be a hacker standing on your front porch, from signing into the router management portal and making changes to it. The remote management option allows a user who has not signed into your network directly to maintain the router, i.e. a user from the internet. You may need to activate this option if you are allowing a remote support technician to assist you. As a general statement, I don't think it is wise to turn on this feature. Definitely don't turn it on for someone you don't know. From the main menu, Wireless option, you can configure your basic wireless settings, including the network band and Service Set Identifier, or SSID. The SSID is the name you'll see on your device when selecting a Wi-Fi network. For a more secure wireless network, you can disable the broadcast option. If you disable broadcast, you'll need to enter the SSID on the device along with the password credentials. Some devices may not give you the option to manually enter an SSID. If this is the case with one of your devices, you'll need to leave the broadcast enabled. Moving to the wireless security panel, you get to select the mode and passphrase, i.e. password, to connect to the network. I don't recommend the disabled option, meaning no password. The web option is also obsolete, as it can very readily be cracked. It is better to not allow guests to connect to your main network. First of all, you are giving them your password, and unless you change it when they leave, you'd be open to future access, potentially unauthorized. Second, and maybe more importantly, if they connect to your network with a compromised device, i.e. there's malware on it, then that malware could find its way onto your devices. Set up a guest network with a different SSID and password. Research your router to determine how secure the guest access is, as some are better than others. Some routers, such as the Ubiquiti Edge router series, will offer very advanced networking options, such as the ability to set up a VLAN, which is a virtual LAN. A VLAN, along with proper firewall configuration, can provide separate networks for your IoT devices, guests, and your day-to-day equipment, with each group being insulated from the other. They are priced right for consumers at $60 and up, but you need to have some advanced technical skills to work with them. I'm not recommending you get one, but I do want to make sure you are aware they exist in case it may be appropriate for your needs. Also note that those base prices I'm quoting don't include wireless access, so you'd have to add a wireless access point or something like that to the solution as well. For more advanced security, use the Wireless MAC Filtering tab to code MAC addresses that are either permitted to or not to access the network wirelessly. A MAC address is the serial number for the network device. A device may have more than one MAC address. For example, a laptop with a Wi-Fi option as well as a wired Ethernet option will typically have a different MAC address for each. The permissive setting requires a little bit more effort to set up and maintain, but it also steps up the security a bit as you have to allow specific devices to connect. The prevent option may be useful if you're seeing the same MAC address attempt to access your network, but the permit approach is really better if you're going through the effort to configure these options. The approach is not foolproof, as a MAC address can be spoofed. However, it does amp up security a bit. From the main menu security tab, you can enable the router firewall. The firewall will help protect your network from attacks from the outside world. The strength of the firewall will vary by router. Use it. If you want to pursue another advanced option to secure the home network, consider using OpenDNS. OpenDNS is a cloud-based DNS, domain name server solution. For those who are old enough to remember what a phone book was, think of a DNS as a phone book, and that it allows lookup of an IP address based on the name, for example, google.com. The IP address is effectively the phone number of your computer and how traffic to and from your computer is routed. OpenDNS offers free and paid options. It provides security features such as blocking access to known malware and phishing sites and the ability to customize domains that you access. Along with filtering malware and phishing sites, additional filtering levels can be set to block pornography, adult material, illegal activities, etc. These settings aren't foolproof, and sometimes legitimate sites get erroneously flagged. Additional setting screens include an option to filter suspicious network responses. So how do you set up your home network to use OpenDNS? Well, back to our Linksys E1200 screens, choose Main Menu Setup, and then the Basic Setup tab. In the DHCP Server Settings section, you see options to configure a static DNS. OpenDNS offers a primary and secondary server to configure. Note that I commented that OpenDNS is a cloud-based DNS. Unless you have created a DNS environment in your home, then you are using cloud-based DNS already. This configuration change directs computers on your network to use OpenDNS as opposed to the defaulted DNS. Usually, your defaulted DNS will be one from your internet service provider, such as Spectrum, Cincinnati Bell, and so forth. If the OpenDNS servers fail, you will have problems connecting to internet sites. At the same time, if the DNS servers you are currently using fail, you will also have problems. You are not introducing a new point of failure, as you already use a cloud DNS. However, you are introducing complexity to your network and another piece of the puzzle to consider when and if you do have internet connection issues. I'm showing you a way to take action and asking that you assess if it is right for your situation.